Okay, good, Bach. We're up to Daf Ayin Dalet, and we're going to begin from Ayin Gimel Amid Beis. Actually, I made a mistake. We're up to Daf Ayin Gimel. I'm going to begin from, I'm trying to get Ace and Esha, advance it. Get a little ribbis going, right? Finish a little earlier. Okay, we're count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines up from the bottom. I'm Rav Sheshes. I'm Rav Huna. So we're gonna have a bunch of cases over here of ribbis that were what looks like ribbis and answers to the questions. An interesting Gemara, not easy but interesting. I'm Rav Sheshes. I'm Rav Huna. Ein lovin al shar shebeshuk. You can't go ahead and borrow borrow on the shar shebeshuk. You borrow $100 and you're going to pay back. You're going to pay back the $100 in fruit. If you look at Rashi, Rashi brings two pshatim. Let's see. Ani shamati, five lines up. Ani shamati, ein lovin ma'is b'derech halva. You can't borrow money derech of a loan. Almanas shem lo yishalmu chamais ad zman ploni. If I don't pay you until this time, etin l'cha peris kishar shel achshav. I'll give you the peris like now. And even though it's derech mechel chememka, it's usually muta. Here it's derech halva, and therefore it will be asa. That's Rav Sheshes. So again, you're borrowing money, you're supposed to pay back money, but you go ahead and just basically cover yourself. What are you saying? That you're going to pay back? You're going to pay back Paris. You can't pay back Paris based upon now because it's derech halva. Okay, Gitvach Leni. So again, we began ayin beis on the base a few lines up of Sheshes is then. You can't go ahead and borrow money and pay back Paris, even though the shar is out on the Paris. You can't do that because it's derech halva. That's Rav Sheshes. Says the Gemara. Umi Amar Rav Huna Hachi. Does Rav Huna really say that? The yes, Rav Huna the following question: Hani b'nei beirav this Talmid Chachamim the Yasrei b'Tishrei they borrowed cash in Tishrei uparei b'Teves and they paid fruit in Teves. So they must have had the shar must have been out if they're paying the fruit. Shari ayasa they asked them is the mutaram arasa they asked Rav Huna. So Amalahu Rav Huna told them hachiti b'hini v'hachiti b'shili. Right now these are places hini and shili. It's available. So what do? You buy if you want zavnei upari go buy it and pay up, right? And pay up. So in other words, you could do it. You could do it since the cash value is out already. The shar is out already. You can go ahead. And if you get $100 worth in our scenario, you borrowed $100, get $100 based upon the shar now and pay up. Meikarasav. Now, why did they hold initially that you couldn't? Meikarasav Rav Huna, Ein Lovin, right? He hold Ein Lovin is derech halva, and therefore you can't borrow cash and pay back fruit. However, keeping the shama laha, since Rav Huna heard Hada Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Chia, Amar Rav Elazar Lovin, Amar Ihu Nami Lovin. So he said lovin, and he said also lovin. So therefore, what you would be able to do it. Since it's derech mechel kamer, it's still avak ribis, and therefore since the shar is out, even derech halva, you would be able to go ahead and do it. So you could go ahead if you have a loan. If you have a loan on of money, and the shar is out, you can go ahead take that value and transfer it to Paris and pay Paris. Tan Rabbanan. Now, we had earlier in the Masechta, we had the Tarsha of Rav Chama. The Tarsha of Chama was that you have a person who was a wealthy guy. He would go ahead and he would give money to these people, and for a small price, they would go to the place where it's expensive. They'd sell the goods there. The moicher is makabel de achrayas, so it's not a halva. Remember, the guys are shluchim of him to buy the stuff that's cheap over here, to go ahead and bring it over there, and bring this stuff that's cheap here, sell it over there, and then that money becomes yours to buy more schleira. So that was permitted because he had achrayas from the place of Zol to the place Yakar. The moicha took achrayas. Had the achrayas been on the people bringing it, it would have been a loan, and then it would have been usher. This was the tarsha of Rav Chama. The Gemara brings it over here. It doesn't bring in the same Rav Chama, but that's the case. Now you're going from the place that's cheap, and his friend tells him, "Tanuli, give it to me, and I'll pay you later according to the price of that place where it's more expensive." Okay, so birshus moicher, if the moicher took rishus to go ahead achrayus, then it's permitted. Look at Rashi in kibul of moicher achrayus haderech. Again, if he, the one who's providing the money, accepts achrayus, then it's not a halva in the hands of the shluchim. They are considered the shluchim of him to buy the goods there. Then they take the money. That's a new halva, but there's no ribbis about in that halva. They'll borrow the profits that he sold it from the makom zol to the makom of yoker of. It's more expensive. But over there, then now it's a new halva, so it's nothing to do with ribbis. However, if the guy's schlepping it, but the guys like Keach who bought it, they have responsibility, then it would be asa because it would be derech, it would be a halva, and he's getting its aganotar he's getting the better price later on for waiting to get his money back. Okay, another case. Again, multiple cases. Our job to find the ribis, shaila, and exactly why it's mutter or asa. Hamoilach peris mimakim lemakim. So someone is going ahead, and he's bringing peris from the place of cheap to the place of expensive. Now, it's asa to lend sa b'sa, guys. We're going to see it on tomorrow's daf. It's asa to lend sa b'sa. So I can't go ahead and say, can I borrow a bushel of wheat? Sure. You can't go ahead and then pay me back a bushel of wheat, because if the bushel of wheat goes up in price, the halva of waiting for the time, I'm getting rewarded. That's called sa b'sa. Literally a sa for a sa, it's a measurement. So this is a case of sa b'sa. He finds his friend, he's schlepping peiris makom l'makom, and he says, "Tanavli, give it to me. And I'll pay you peiris in the other place." So im yesh lo peiris b'isei makom. If the person who said, the borrower says, I have it there in that place, then it's muta. The imlav asar, and if not, it's asar. So we saw in futures contracts, right? There are two heterim. One, if the shar is out, and two, even if the shar is not out, yeshloi, if he has it in his possession, so it's considered yours already. And when it went up in price, right? And when it went up in price, then it went up in price in your rishus. Is mechadish the Gemara, the din of yeshloi is also a heter by sabisa. So if I would say, go ahead, give me a bushel of wheat, and I'll pay you back a bushel of wheat based upon the price in that place, and I have it right now, that's yeshloi. So when it goes up, it's going up in your rishus. That's the chiddush. Again, Rashi says the chachamim were not geyser. B'makom yeshloi, they weren't geyser. Again, the whole parak, as we come near the conclusion, the whole parak is based upon how HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted the Chachamim felt to go in ribis, to go ahead and make avak ribis in so many cases. The ribis, the rice is only ribis kitsutza with a set price and X amount. But most of these cases, derech mekoch memkar or even sabisa should be permitted. It just looks like ribis. And once there's a heta, there was no gezerah. So when there's yeshloi, is a big heta, sai by paisikalav as a paris by what? By a futures contract, and sai sabisa going ahead borrowing fruits to pay back with fruits or a grain. Says the Gemara Vaita. V'hachamorim ma'alim b'makim hayoker ki b'makim hazol ve'ein chosheshin. Okay, this case is not so pashut. Rashi. Hamarim are the wagon drivers. These are the people, these are the teamsters, fellas. Let's call them what they are. They're the teamsters. They're the people who transport. So you have these rich guys, you have these rich fellows, and they hire out these teamsters. What are these teamsters doing? They're going ahead, bringing from a place that it's cheap to a place that it's expensive. And they're going to go ahead, they're going to take money from the rich guy, and they're going to go ahead and they buy in the rich place to get. Rashi says, "Almanas litem lisman ploini," according to the price that is in the sharazul. Okay, so these guys are these wagon drivers. They're usually hired to bring from a place that is cheap to a place that's expensive to go ahead and sell it there. So it's permitted for them to take money from Ashirim in the rich place. Almanas to go ahead, take that money, and go ahead and buy in the place where it's cheap. So these guys, you have a price that's expensive. You're taking the money and spending it in the cheap place. So you're going ahead, and it appears that what you're not worried about ribis, the schar of waiting for his money, as we're going to see in a second. So why is it not a ribis problem? So one more time, Hamorim malim b'makim hayoker b'makim hazoil ve'ena chosheshin. My timer, Rav Papa Amar. Now it should be aganotar. It should be a case of aganotar. They're waiting for what in the lahav. They're giving them money and they're waiting to go ahead what. And as a result, going from this rich place to the poor to getting to the cheap place, they're getting a better price, right? They're getting a better price. So this is a halva. So the answer is that the drivers are gaining. Since the drivers are gaining, it's not considered the schar that they're taking it upon themselves, not because of what? Because of the schar of using the guy's money. They're taking it upon themselves because they have tremendous amount of gain. And we have two pshatim. The first pshat is Rav Papa. What's Rav Papa's pshat? Nichalu de negalalahu ta'ara. It's good for them that it's revealed to them that these are chashuv guys. These teamsters show up. They got shiny new trucks. They say, you know what? They see who contracted you out, Costco. So in the place where it's cheap, you know what they're going to do? They're going to contract them out also. So the fact that their reputation goes up as a result of being contracted out by these rich guys giving them money to buy in a cheaper place, that's the schar. So it's not the aganotar, it's they're gaining. A second shot is these people obviously are not going to make a tremendous amount of profit because they're selling, they're buying in a cheap place and they're bringing it back to these guys. So the guys there are going to feel bad for them and they're going to go ahead and give them credit and give them a cheaper price. So these are the two pshatim. Says the Gemara. Amra Papa, says Rav Papa. Nichlu de megalilu Torah. It's good for them that their reputation is revealed, so to say, because again they're going to be able to get more schayra because of the people trusted in them. They're going to go ahead and they're going to go ahead and get a cheaper price because again, if these guys are doing business all the time, so I want to give you my schayra, I'll charge you less for you to go ahead and do this. It might be nayu. What's the difference? It could be nayu tagar chadata. The guy is a new merchant. So if it's because rich guys are giving him, right? So the rich guys are giving him, if Costco trusts him, I have to trust him. But if the guy doesn't have a reputation yet, then so according to Rav Papa, it would not be a problem of aganotar. According to Rav Acha, since his reputation has not been gone ahead and been sealed yet, that they're going to give them, this new merchant won't give him a price, then it would be a problem of aganotar, according to Rav Acha. So again, the Chamorim bringing it back and forth from the more expensive place to the cheaper place. Why isn't it aganota? Because they're gaining something, they're doing it for a gain. According to Rav Papa, the gain is their reputation, and they'll be able to get more schayra for credit. According to the other pshat, they'll get more schayra at a cheaper price to offset the fact that they're not charging such a high price. The surah, osli arba, right? In surah, let's say you can get 4 grivim, four measurements for 4 zuz. The kafri, osli shisa, it was 6. So it was more expensive in surah, and Rav, of course, was the Rav of surah. And it was more expensive in surah, and it was cheaper in kafri. So Yov Rav Zuzah Lechamre, he gave a Zuz Lechamre, and he took achrayas. The kibul oinsa the urche. So once Rav was makabel achrayas, what do we know by now? So it's not a halva. So it's not a halva. There's shluchim Rav to bring it as wide as a price of 6. In other words, Rav could be marviach 2 zuz, because I mean not 2 zuz. I mean for the 1 zuz the 2 saw, whatever it is, whatever the measurement is, he can marviach. The shakal minayu chamisha, and he took 5. So his place, it was expensive. It was 4 for a zuz. In Kafre, it was 6 for a zuz. Rav was makabel achrayas, and therefore it wasn't what a problem of ribis, because there wasn't a halva. And now Rav only took 5. He didn't take 6. Right? The Gemara, what nishkal so let him take 6. Says the Gemara, adam chashiv shiny. An adam chashiv is different. So Rav wanted to be squeaky clean, and therefore he didn't take the full 6. He took 5. Boy mina avasim Rabbi Yochanan. Ma'u lasois bigru tois. This din of well, it could go up in price, your reputation. In other words, the teamsters that we said it's not a problem of aganotar by transferring from the more expensive place to the cheaper place, either because of Rav Papa's reason, because again, his reputation, or the other one, they want to give him a cheaper price because they want to do business. Is that by only the commodity of food, which the shar goes up and down and people do business with it all the time? What about things that people don't do all the time? What about gold fragments or any pragmati, Rashi said, any commodity that doesn't have this vast going up and down? Would there be such a din of a teamster bringing that back and one way, and we don't have a problem with aganata? That's the question. So bigru choice. What's the bigru choice? Cain. Boy miner avasim rayachem. Mahu last place bigru choice Cain. Amalei bikesh Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi last place Cain. Bekli pishton, using linen, and linen clothing again is not something that is a commodity that is traded all the time and price going up and down. And Rabbi didn't let him. So Rabbi held that it was aganotar. If you're going to go ahead and bring a kli pushner from a more expensive place to sell to a cheap, give him money to buy at a cheaper place, that would be an aganotar problem. It could be Bikish Rabbi last choice Cain. It wasn't Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi wanted to do it, and Rabbi didn't allow it. It was Rabbi who wanted to do it, and Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi, and he didn't let him to do it. Okay, so it seems that this heter is only by the food commodity, but not by what? By other commodities that the shar is not so viable, going up and down. Pardisa, what about a pardis? What about a kerem? Says Rashi, pardisa, medium Rashi is 4 lines down. Likner siyayim min a kerem, you want to buy yayin from the kerem, bidomim, chusim, kol perishon azu. You're going to say, listen, this, I don't know what is going to be produced in this vineyard this year, but I want to go ahead. Again, the wine is not there yet. It's in the grapes. And you want to say, I'm going to go ahead and give you a futures contract on these grapes. All right. And he buys it when they're in the unripened state. He didn't get to the state of bikor, of being harvested. They didn't get to the ripe state yet. So a guy on a pardis, can he make a futures contract on a pardis? Rav Asa Shmuel Shari. Rav Asa, even the Lakame Shavya Tvei, Miskaze Ki Aganotar. He's giving him money now. It's going to be worth later on when it goes from grapes to wine. So it appears he's getting rewarded for waiting for the use of his money. That's Aganotar. Shmuel Shari. Shmuel said it's permitted. You know why? Because there's no guarantee that you're going to get wine. Even the Havi Beit Tiyua, Miskaze Ki Aganotar. Since the possibility of a loss, these grapes may rot. Who knows what's going to be? There might be some type of calamity in the field. So once we spoke out the possibility of a loss is there, Ken saying that there's no problem of aganotar, and Shmuel permitted it. Very interesting. Machlekes Rav and Shmuel, and Rav says it's also, and Shmuel says it is muta. Interesting. We spoke out, guys, that ribis is a shaila not of dine mominis, but of what? Of Issa v'heter, Yeridea. What's the rule in Shas? Machlekes ben Mamin, the halacha is like Shmuel. Issa v'heter, halacha is like Rav. Take a look. Who does Shulchan Aruch Paskin like? Kadisa, Rav Asa. That's consistent. It's not a dini monistic din. If it was dini monistic din, we should pass like Shmuel. So you see that it's consistent with what the theme we've been speaking about, that Yeribis is in Yeridea. Very geschmack. That's I'll give him credit. That's Moshe Yehuda Stern, who we learned today Bechavusa together. Blog it. Moshe Yehuda Stern. Moshe Yehuda ben Eliezer. Rav Simi Barchia, who Moida Rav is Moida Beture B'Nafesh Pisudayo. Let's say this kerem is being worked by Ture, by oxen. So you know what the oxen are going to do? They're going to trample the grapes. They're walking around, and Rav B'Moida, if it's being harvested, the harvest is taking place using oxen, that it will be muta, because again, the ag is not nata, because you don't know there could be a loss because of what? Of the oxen. Amru Shmuel lahanu. Shmuel said the hanu the shifsei shifsa. Okay, this apparently, guys, is a case of sa b'sa. You have an oris, he's working a piece of land, and he doesn't have seed. So he borrows from the owner of the land seed, right? He borrows from the owner of the land seed, telling him that he'll pay him back X amount. Saw, bisa is not permitted. So what will you do in this situation? You can't lend him saw seeds for the future, what you're going to produce, because that looks like ribis. You're waiting for your seeds to go, you lent him seeds, you're waiting for them to produce, that's aganotar, right? Your reward is waiting for you. Says, interesting enough, the Gemara, hafuche ba'ara, kehechi dikonile gufa da'ara, okay? V'iloi have l'chu kalva v'asa. Says this, Shmuel said this Gaval Gedin, okay? Amalahu Shmuel, Amalahu Shmuel. Listen to this. The sharecropper, he has a piece of action in the whole land. So if whatever seed he bought, he has is going to be considered, what? A halva. Because he owns every piece of land. What happens if the owner goes ahead and he makes a kinyan and saying, this piece of land is uniquely mine and you have no shaykhs to the land? Then if that's the case, the seeds that he gave him, he bought, because he has no shaykhs to this. He doesn't get any action from this sharecropper. Memela, says Shmuel, any profit that's possible that we can go ahead and give the owner of the land will say came from that little parcel that he went ahead on and he acquired. Again, this is a workaround, a lumdish workaround about sabisa. Again, sabisa, you're lending me seeds, you're going to pay me back, crops. That's sabisa. Problem. Heter. All the land's meshubit to the sharecropper. So every place he places, you're going to have this problem of his borrowed seeds going ahead and producing for you, because he has a piece of the land. This piece of land, he has no shaykhs to. This piece of land, he has no shaykhs to. It belongs solely to the owner. So vis-a-vis the piece of land, these seeds are sold. They're not a halva. And the mela, we can say any profit came from this piece of land. That's the heter over here. Amlu Rava lahanu de mitri bagi. Rabbi said to these people, they would watch the crops, and they received their wages after the harvest, and they would get a bonus for waiting. So l'cheretz aganatar. These were scarecrows. The stuff was in the field. These are live guys. They would watch it. The skiers would be paid, and then they get a bonus. So they're getting in lieu of waiting for their salary, this extra bonus is coming as a result of waiting. That's aganotar. So that's the problem. Again, as I point out, we go through the sugya each along the way, where the problem lies. So over here, Hanu Dimantri Bagi, these people who watch the crops, and literally in the Bagi is the valley. Poku, they should go out, and Hafuchu bebeidari, they should go work in after it was harvested the crops, they should work in the threshing camp, turn it over. Now why? Because now by turning it over, you're going to be mechayiv to pay them then. Kihechi like the shtalim schiris ditchu ada hishaita. The schiris would be only to that time. The schiris ain't mishalelos el b'soif. Now, once you have to pay at that time, by hishaita azuli the kamoislei, and that time they give him a bargain that they're paying for this moment the work, as opposed to reward them, guys. What's the problem? They want to give them a bonus. So if you're going to give them a bonus for watching the crops, it's aganotar. If you're giving a bonus for what that they did right now, the work right now, that's not aganotar. That's a tip. That's a tip. Again, if you're going to reward them for waiting for their wages for watching the crops, that's an aganotar problem. But if you tell them to work right now, and I can be toilet, you're going to give them. You're rewarding them for the fact they work the crops. But it looks like why you're rewarding them, because now they did some work right now in the threshing floor. That's how you avoid the aganotar problem. Again, very nice. Same theme, common theme for every case. Amul Rabban l'Rava. Ka'achol ribis. You're eating ribis. The kuli alma shakli arba. They take 4. So the 4 sabasela. Umisalke la risei b'nisin. Comes Nisan, when the crop just ripened, They pay off the aris with 4, and mar not lahu at iyar. You wait. Well, I guess they take 4 for his share. Mar not lahu at iyar b'shakal shisa. You wait till iyar, right now, mamish, right, Rabbi Avi. You wait till now in iyar, and what do? And you're taking 6. So aganotar, as a result of waiting 1 extra month, right? You're taking more of your share from the sharecropper. That's what they accuse Rav of. Again, waiting, aganotar, as a result of waiting, I'm getting more. So it's usually your share will be 4, now your share is 6. Why'd you get the extra? You waited an extra month. So that's what he told Rav. Rav told him, Asan kayav disin shalaikidin. You who in Nisan took 4, you did incorrectly. Right? Shalaikidin. Arula aris mishtabe. The aris, the land is meshubit to the aris until it ripens. Arula aris mishtabe. The land is meshubit to the aris until it ripens. If you go ahead and remove them in Nisan and give them the amount you're giving them, you're bimaslu bekama, because it's not ripe yet. I wait till iyar umavachlu bekama. As a result, you know why I get more? Because they're getting more. Because why? There's more crop. So the higher price is paid in iyar, and therefore I'm not guilty of what of aganotar adarabah. They're getting more because the crop is ripened on the days. Okay, here's a very, very interesting person. We've met him before, but it must have been a long time ago because Rashi felt the need to reintroduce him. So Rav Mari bar Rachel. Okay, before we get to what he says, let's look at his name. His name is Mari, and we're calling him the son of Rachel. Right? We're calling him the son of Rachel. Says Rashi, Rav Mari bar Rachel, Bas Shmuel Habe, the daughter of Shmuel, the Nishbes, and she was captured. Benisis Nachri, and the guy married her. Benis Gayer, and the guy was Megayer. Ushmei Isser Giura, his name was Isser the Ger. For Rav Mari Hayrasle Shlebik Dusha, Rav Mari, his conception was before he was Megayer. Beledasle Bikdusha, and his later was after he was Megayer. Umachmas Kfoidoi, and because of the cover of Rav Mari, Taluel Shem Imo, we're going to call him after his mother's name. So instead of calling him Mari, the son of Isser the Ger, we're calling him Mari bar Rachel. That's Shmuel's daughter, again, who had been married to this guy. Now, what happened? Rav Mari bar Rachel mashkin le'ahu nachrei besa. So this guy owed Rav Mari money, and he gave him a mashkin, and he gave Rav Mari a mashkin. If there was no set time when to pay it back, and Rav Mari was living there and not paying the rent. He was living there and he wasn't paying rent. Again, it was a guy. Not a problem, Ribbis, living there, despite the fact that he's going to pay you back, not a Ribbis problem whatsoever, correct? Good. Now, Hadazavne L'Rava. This guy went ahead and sold a house that was mashkin to Mari to the great Amoira Rava. Okay. Not a Tracy Yarchi Shasa. Mari waited 12 months. Shakal Agar Besa. He took the rent of the house, and Amtulei Rava, and he brought it to Rava. Amalei, said Rav Mari to Rava, Haidalei Amti Lemar Agar Besa Ada Idna. The reason I didn't pay you rent until now is because I wasn't mechuyev to. You know why? The Stam Mashkanta Shasa, Stam the Mashkin is a year. Iboy Nochi Lesalki Lehavi Matzi Misalkili. In other words, I was living here this year. The guy can't take me off the land. It's not possible. I'm in this land, he can't take me. I'm living rent-free. So the reason I didn't come to you at all until this time was there was no need to. Now, have a hashta, now that the year is up, lishkol mar agabesa. Go ahead and take what? The schar for the coming year. Take the schar for the coming year. Taisus asked the kasha, if schiris is only paid l'soif, as we said multiple times lately, how can he prepay? Says Taisus, maybe he was the minig of that place. Says other Rishonim, simply he wanted to go ahead and be squeaky clean. He wanted, in this relationship he had, and it's a mashkin, he wanted to be squeaky clean. Okay? Either way, that's the case. Amalei said Rava, If I would have known that this land, this house, was a mashkin to you, Mari, I never would have bought it from the guy. However, hashta now, I'm going to go ahead and act upon them according to their laws, which is called Amos loy misalke bezuze loy shogol akar besa. As long as they don't go ahead and pay up, they're not getting what? Any rent. I'm not going to take any rent from you until the guy pays up. A guy, he sold the house, the guy still has the loan to Murray. It has nothing to do with the sale. He took care of the mashkin, the collateral, but he still owes the money. Said Rava, listen, if it was still in his hands, there's no way you would have to pay rent, even after the year. You wouldn't have to pay rent, right? Until he pays you off. So I also, even though I'm going to act with their dinim and I'm not going to take rent at all. Why? Until he pays you up. Amalei Rava mibarnish l'Ravashi. Chazi ma rabbanon the ka'achil l'Ravisa. Okay, here's the case. They're buying wine. They're buying barrels of wine in Tishrei, and then they're choosing barrels of wine in Teves. In other words, they're not taking the possibility of the wine becoming chometz. They're not taking the possibility of the wine. In other words, pashtus wine does become chometz. It does become what? It does become vinegar. So they're going ahead taking the shar is out, so they could buy the wine. But they're taking the wine and then they're collecting dafka wine and not wine that possibly could be vinegar. So says Rava to Mabanish to Ravashi, Chazi ma rabbanan the ka'achli revisa, they're eating ribis. The yov zuzi achamra b'tishrei. They're going to buy wine in Tishrei umivchare le b'teves, and then they're going ahead and choosing the wine in Teves without taking the possibility that it became what? Chometz. So Amalei, so Seravashi, Inunami Achamra Koyov. They only gave money for wine. They never gave money for vinegar. Achal loy Koyov. Now, Meikara, the Chamra, the Chala, Hahi Shaita Hu de Kamalafri. Says very interesting. If wine becomes vinegar in Teves, it's because the bacteria was in the wine in Tishrei already. They paid for wine in Tishrei. They paid for wine without bacteria. They paid for wine that there was no possibility of kilkel. Now that the wine in Teves is what? Is vinegar. It already was vinegar, or the possibility was a vinegar right in Tishrei. So Memela, now they're just choosing the wine. It's a shtick like Breira. They're choosing the wine that they paid for what? In Tishrei. And therefore it's not a problem of ribbis. Ravina Habi Yov Zuze Libnei Akra de Shanvasa. He gave money to Bnei Akra de Shanvasa, and he gave it to them for wine. Rashi says that's Shanvasa is Shem Nahar, it's the name of a river. And just for those people who like Rashi's Laz, Akra is country balaz. There you go. Kuntria balaz, right? There's the word country comes from there. Yoshim al Svas Oisi Nahar was on that river. V'yov le Ravina Zuze Lefnei Abatzir. He gave money before the harvest. Lasis Lahayayin Beisa Batzir Kishad Hayotza. And he paid for with the shard that came out, he paid for it. So what happened? That's all permitted. That's no problem. However, when they gave it back to him, V'shavchi, back in the Gemara, V'shavchi le tfei kupisa. They gave him back a little more. They gave him, if they want to know if it's ribis, that they gave me more than I paid for. So also came to Ravashi, Amalei, mi shari. Is it permitted because of this? They gave me this extra wine. So is it permitted? Is this considered ribis mucheres, guys? We didn't cut a deal earlier, but is this considered ribis mucheres? So Amalei told him it's right. You can keep it. It's not a problem. It's mutter. They're simply going ahead and doing Michael, says Rashi. Since you don't go ahead and say giving me X amount, when we die them and they give it on their own volition. You didn't say the schar of the money I'm giving you now. You didn't. There's no possibility of ribis. You didn't go ahead and say, I'm giving you for this money, you weren't Paisik, and therefore what? It's just a matana. Continues the Gemara. Amalei, so however, Ravina told Ravashi, Ha'ara lav bidhuhi. The land was not theirs. Where they grew their grapes wasn't theirs. And we know karka ain't an exelis. So Amalei, Ara letaska mishabda, said Rav Ashi to Ravina, the land is meshubit to the one who pays the land tax. Umalka Omar, Mandiyov Taska, and the Melech's law is the one who pays the land tax, Leichel Ara, should go ahead and eat from the land. So it's not a problem of karka gesula. Only a popular Rava. Chazima Hani Rabbanon, the Yov Zuza Karga Dinshi. These people pay the head tax. There was a shar gilgoilus on each person. So they're paying the head tax. You see these people paying the head tax. And the people they pay for, they make them work. May make them work more than the tax was worth. So Amalei, so Rabbi said to Rav Papa, Hashta Echle Shtiva, had I died, I never would be able to tell you Hachiyam Rav Sheshes what Rav Sheshes said. It's a good thing. In other words, it's a good thing you asked me this question, because had I died, I never would have got a chance to give me this psak. What's the psak? Mehoraiku dahani betavsu de malka monach. The seal, official seal of the government, is lying in the chest of the melech. Umalka Omar mandalo yov kargo. The one who doesn't pay the head tax, l'shtabe, should be meshubit. He should have to work it off. What's that? Community service. Should have to do community service. L'man de yov karga, to the one who pays the karga. So since you pay the tax, you get the community service to you because you pay this tax. Rav Sa'orim achu de Rava. This is a great trivia question. What's Rava's brother's name? Rav Sa'orim. Doesn't appear too often. Rav Sa'orim is the brother of Rava. He would grab people who were unscrupulous guys. He would grab them, and he'd make them transport Rava. Rava was the famous Amoira. He'd give drushes. Many people would come. They would carry Rava in. These people who are not unscrupulous were made to be the ones who would carry Rava in. So Mayulu begaraka de Rava. Amalei Rava Shapikov. It's a good thing. The Tanina. How do you know if you see a person that it does not act in a way you could be mishabed him? It says so if you have psukim in your Gemara, great. If you don't have psukim in Gemara, listen to this. We've had this pasuk multiple times. This is how we know an eved is like karka. Because an eved is passed down in the family. It says the following: and you should bequeath them to your sons after you as a reishis achusa. La'olam behem ta'avodu, and Eretz Kanani should serve you forever. Uba'achechem b'nei Yisrael ish ba'achiv le'sirda b'befarach. But b'nei Yisrael you shouldn't. Now, I can read this pasuk one of two ways. This is the way I'm going to read it. You should bequeath these avodim to your children afterwards. They should work for you, and ba'achechem, and your brothers should work for you. When your brothers are not doing the work thing, they could work for you. That's one way to read it. Putting the la'olam ta'avodu, connecting it to the word achechem. There's another way to read it. Right. Stop. They should work for you. However, uba'achechem b'nei Yisrael, you shouldn't work. And that's when they do the right thing. Then you can't be mishabed them. So says the lo'olam ta'avodu uba'achechem, connecting the word achechem to lo'olam ta'avodu. Therefore, they should work for you. If they're on the up and up, okay, he's giving him money. He's giving him money to buy something. He's giving him money to buy wine. Now, most Mefarshim learn the following way, that he told him, the Farish, that if he doesn't go ahead and buy for him, he'll make up the difference. Okay, guys, this is important. I'm buying wine for Benji. Benji, it's cheap now, go buy wine. So Benji, I'm going to go take care of you. Get Benji, guess what? And if I don't buy you the wine now, I'll make up the difference. What do we call that? Do I believe I'm going to make it up, Benji? It's called an asmachta, guys, right? That's the classic asmachta, right, Mayor? That's the asmachta we spoke about, right? I think, of course, I'm going to go ahead and pay a Benji. Why should I think otherwise? Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through the sugya. Says the Gemara. So I'm going to bring wine for Benji, and he gave me wine. Pasha, guess what? I was pasheya, and veloy zavinle, and guess what? It went up in price. So Mishalin Lake Kidika Azul, our Parvasa this I don't know what the name of this place is. The place was central place for selling wine. You'll sell them according to our Parvasa Dizol Shifot. What the yayin goes for in that place, which is again much higher price than I would have bought it earlier. Omar Meima, Amros Lishmatz Kameder of Svid, Minadoi, Omar. Kikam Rav Chama, when the Rav Chama say I have to pay the higher price, Hani Mili Biyayin Stam. Benji just said, buy me wine. Aval Biyayin Zeh. If Benji said, buy me this particular wine, loy. Me Yema the Mizavin in LA. I don't know, people will sell it to me. There's no raya. In other words, there's no guarantee I would get this particular wine if he wants it. So Yayin Stam, that's when I have to pay the higher price. But Yayin Zeh, this particular wine, there's no guarantee. Ravashi Amar, I feel Yayin Stam Nami, loy. Even Yayin Stam, I would not have to pay the higher price. My timer, Asmachtahi. That I told Benji, don't worry about it, I'll take care of you. And I'll make it. So that's Smachta. That's Smachta Loikanya. That's Smachta Loikanya, right? Now, why? If the only way for a Smachta to be Kanya with Benji would have said, make a Kenyan Suda. Oh, Lace, you're really going to make it up? Okay, make a Kenyan Suda now, and then that would be. Now, so you see over here, it's not Smachta. Fred Marakasha. Uravashi, Maishnomi Haditatnan. Okay, if I go ahead, I'm a Kabbalist feel for my friend, and I'm going to provide him half the profits. I leave the field barren. I don't do anything. I don't go ahead plow it. I don't plant it. Why do we do that? Allah is, we're going to see later on in the Masechta, we evaluate how much it was ready to do, and you'll go ahead and have to pay. So, in Oiver, if I leave the field barren, and I don't work it, Ashalim b'mitfa, I'll pay from my best thing. And there we don't say it's a smachta. There I do have to pay. So what's the difference by buying wine, we say a smachta loikanya, and why buy the field where I go ahead and I say, if I leave this field blank, I'm going to make it up to you, and I have to make it up to him. Says Gemara Chassam, over there by the field, biyadai. Over there, it's totally what in my jurisdiction to go ahead and plant, and go ahead what and plow, and so forth. Hacha, over here, lav biyadai. Maybe what? They won't sell it to him. There's no raya. So therefore, that's the difference between the two cases. Okay, I'm not sure about tomorrow morning. Look at I'm not feeling so well, and I'm not home now, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to give shir tomorrow morning or in the afternoon or the evening. I'm not sure. You look at the clock, okay? A good tavach.